This is Dr. Fraser Crane. I'm listening.
History happened everywhere. Hello, my name is Pete Goddard and I'm here in the HHE studio with the Hannibal Lecter to my Clarice Starling. It's Mr. Ryan Weir.
Yes, I am the liver to your fava beans.
You are a delicious friend. Now, Ryan, as we've hinted, the Derzolation last week gave us for episode 101, Psychology in Cambodia during the Neogene. A little bit of a challenge, it sounds to me, but Ryan, why don't you give us a little hint as to what we've got in store today?
That's right, Pete. A challenge indeed. That's how we start our first episode of 2025. We are going to be rolling back the clock millions of years and heading to Southeast Asia, where ancient creatures roamed a shifting landscape, behaving in ways both fascinating and, at times, downright bizarre. This episode, we're exploring psychology in a world untouched by humans. We'll uncover the inner turmoil of a lonely forest resident, dive into the evolution of bears, and reveal how a grisly face changed the science of psychology forever. So grab a slice of happy pizza and join us on a journey deep into the mind, where we'll find out why you should fear your own shadow, how an elephant can end your marriage, and why every self-respecting bear deserves an iPad. Welcome to Karaoke Kingdom. Welcome to the Land of Wonder. Welcome to Cambodia.
Well, Ryan, that sounds very exciting. It's a challenging topic, but it sounds like there's an awful lot of fun stuff to discover.
Oh, yeah, we've got a lot to cover off here, haven't we?
All right, well, then why don't we get straight on with it and tell us, Ryan, where the hoot-neck are we today?
So we are in the Kingdom of Cambodia. We're talking about a country in Southeast Asia, bordered by Thailand to the west, which is to the left, Laos to the north, and Vietnam to the east. In general, Cambodia is mostly forest, so think jungles and wildlife and ancient ruins. Most people are going to have heard of Angkor Wat, the largest religious monument in the world, and the inspirational location for Indiana Jones-type tomb-raiding adventurers the world over.
Oh, yes, well, I've heard of that, so that must be famous.
Mysterious and spooky.
And I'm sure there's treasure there still.
Now, Cambodia covers an area of approximately 181,000 square kilometres. That's 70,000 square miles, which is roughly 3 Cambodias to a France.
Oh, okay. I thought it was bigger than that.
No, sir. Now, around 17 million people live in Cambodia, and the vast majority of those live in the capital city, which is called Phnom Penh, a city where traffic lights are just a suggestion and you can buy wine flavoured with tarantula.
That sounds awful. In every percent, all of it.
I'm sure it's lovely. The official religion is Buddhism, the currency is the Cambodian riel, and the national dish is a steamed fish curry in coconut milk served in banana leaves.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah. The flag has a red stripe sandwiched between 2 blue stripes, and in the middle is a depiction of Angkor Wat, which, Pete, makes it the only flag in the world to feature a building.
Oh, solid bit of flag trivia, that.
Yeah, there you go. Now, the national anthem is called Nukor Reach, which translates as Majestic Kingdom, and it sounds a little something like this.
Oh, quite mellow.
Very gentle, isn't it?
Yes, stringier than I was expecting.
Now, this was composed in 1938 by the then Prince, Norodom Soromarit, and he had help from 2 of the Royal Palace's musical instructors to do it. So it does make you wonder who actually came up with it.
Yes, my liege, that's an excellent song. How about we just tweak it here and there in the notes?
Yeah, the lyrics weren't complete until 2 years later in 1941, but then it was adopted as national anthem to celebrate King Norodom's coronation.
Well, I liked it. Well done, Norodom.
Very good. Side note, the current king of Cambodia, also called King Norodom, he's a trained ballet dancer. Yeah, apparently he studied classical dance and music in Europe, performed professionally across the continent before returning to Cambodia to become king.
Oh, I would love it if on his coronation he'd have sort of
Pirouette.
puddered and pirouetted up to the throne and then leapt on like a salmon. That'd be amazing.
Well, there you go. It's a fun fact for you.
Yeah.
And where does that lead us to, Pete?
Is it Cambodia Facts?
Facts!
It is Cambodia Facts. I knew it.
First of all, don't ever enter a Cambodian spelling bee.
Okay, that was good. Lucky you told me that because I've started filling out the form already.
Yeah, we'll put that away. Because, Pete, there are 74 letters in the Cambodian language.
Oh, that explains the trouble I was having filling out the form.
Yeah, 33 consonants, 41 vowels.
That's just loads.
Yeah, apparently it's such a complex language that even native speakers struggle with their spelling.
Do they have their own Scrabble?
Yeah, I was thinking that. You imagine the size of the Scrabble board.
The tiles, a pile of tiles as big as your head.
Yeah. Right, Peter, watch out for pizza that makes you happy.
I love pizza that makes me happy.
In one of the tourist areas in Phnom Penh, you can buy yourself a slice of pizza topped with cannabis called Happy Pizza.
Crikey, that would be an easy mistake to make. I'm not a big fan of the cannabis, so happy sounds delicious, and then, I'll be in trouble. Crikey.
You would. Apparently, it was first created a few decades ago when Cambodia's drug laws were a little bit more relaxed. Technically, it is illegal now, though, so don't eat any Happy Pizza if you get it, but there are some places that still, quietly offer it.
Well, I'll stick with pepperoni, I think.
Yeah, I don't know how much it costs, but probably $4.20.
Ooh, look at you with your cultural knowledge. Down with the kids, right?
I sure am. Right. This next one, Pete, is called Elephants.
I assume that's elephants! !
It is, yeah. There is an ancient Cambodian tradition of having elephants settle disputes between couples that want a divorce.
That's very wise. What do they do? Just do a distribution of assets, that kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of sits down, negotiates or mediates between the two. Well, in a way, it kind of does. So, Pete, imagine you and I are married.
Easy to imagine.
And we're going through arguments. We want to get a divorce, right? But we can't work out who gets the kids, who gets the money, who gets the car, whatever, right? Well, we get ourselves an elephant. It's beginning to sound like one of our sketches. And we stand either side of it, and the person that the elephant walks to wins the argument.
Ah, that's why I always carry pockets full of peanuts, in case I'm faced with a divorce situation that I wasn't expecting.
That's why you carry the peanuts.
I'm kidding. I would never divorce you, Ryan.
Oh. So, talking of marriage, Pete, in some areas of Cambodia, there's a tradition called ghost marriage. Now, this is where a living person marries a dead corpse.
How appealing.
Yeah, exactly. Right, they place a ring on an image of the deceased. They don't put the ring on the, rotten finger.
That would be creepy.
Yeah, and, there's no nuptials necessary to consummate the wedding. But, apparently it's done to make sure that the spirits of the dead aren't lonely in the afterlife.
Oh, that's much sweeter and nicer than I was expecting.
It's a sweeter end to that story, isn't it? Yeah. Now, Pete, if ever there should be a movie made about something, don't you think it should be about Cambodian monks who go around hunting vampires?
Yes, please make this immediately. You and I can make it. Hollywood, you know where to send the check.
Yeah, well, this is a real thing. There are a group of Cambodian monks who are said to have knowledge of black magic and can easily identify a vampire disguised as a human.
Ooh.
Now, rather than garlic and crucifixes, the monks perform rituals to banish the creatures, right?
Is this just anyone they take a dislike to?
Could certainly lead to some incorrect guesswork, yeah. Now, ancient Khmer warriors were said to use a mysterious substance called kamoch sa, or ghost powder, which turned their enemies into zombies. Yeah, now this powder, right, it's a secret blend of herbs and spices.
Well, okay. Kentucky Fried Zombie.
Yeah. And apparently they used to sprinkle it on the battlefield to paralyze their foes and make them easier to defeat.
Ooh.
You'll be surprised to learn there is no scientific evidence for this.
I'm shocked.
But some healers out in the rural suburbs claim to know the recipe of these secret herbs and spices, but apparently they're never going to share it.
No, well, you wouldn't if you had a secret like that under your belt, would you?
Exactly. Now, finally, Pete, talking of the supernatural, there is an old Cambodian superstition called the Night of the Shrinking Shadows. Spooky, right?
That is spooky.
Now, on this night, which is a moonless night, Apparently, your shadow can detach itself from your body and wander off on its own.
Oh, mine does that all the time. I can't keep him attached at all.
Well, the thing is, Pete, is if your shadow doesn't return by sunrise, you lose your soul.
Oh, well, mine always comes back. He's a very reliable little lad.
Right, well, if you ever get concerned that you are going to lose your soul because your shadow's not going to come back, the way to prevent it is to tie a string around your wrists and your ankles, and that will help keep your shadow attached.
Ah, yes. Well, and also, I think your friends may have been playing a little prank on you there, chaps, if you're walking around with your arms and legs tied together, going, I've got to keep my shadow attached.
Just have one strong light attached to you at all times, and then shadow.
Okay, well, I'll maybe just wrap some sellotape around my ankle. That usually does it.
Get out the handcuffs, Pete. Oh, no, wait. What?
I don't own handcuffs. I don't know where you get that idea from. Stop looking in my box.
Hey, Pete.
Hey, Ryan.
I was just looking at the podcast stats.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and I'm a bit confused.
Oh, why? What's up?
Well, for the past month, our listener numbers have plummeted.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like nobody's listening.
Oh, right.
It's like we didn't release any episodes or something.
What? No.
Yeah, but we didn't take a break though, did we?
No, we didn't.
We did do the quiz of the year,
Yes,
and loads of people listened to that one,
exactly.
but then nothing for weeks.
That is weird.
Yeah, because we definitely did some episodes, didn't we?
Oh, we sure did.
Like, we did an entire episode on house cleaning in Croydon during New Year 2025.
Oh, yeah, that was a great episode. Some of your best work, actually.
And then we did doing all the shopping and cooking in our house during mid-January 2025.
That's right, another classic.
And then we did foot rubs on the sofa in late January 2025.
Oh, yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, but we definitely published them though, right?
Oh, yeah, we published them. They were real episodes and everything.
Huh, well, I don't know. I guess people just weren't interested.
Oh, no, they were.
Really?
Yeah, we got loads of feedback on social media.
Huh, well, I don't remember seeing anything.
Oh, yeah, tons of it. You probably just missed it. You were busy with all the cleaning and shopping and cooking and foot rubs. You were really occupied.
Well, I guess that makes sense. Ah, well, must be a glitch with the stats then.
Yes, that's definitely a glitch, because people loved those episodes. In fact, so much so, they've been demanding more, just like them.
Really?
Oh, yeah, huge demand. So, for our next episode, I've Derzolated, and it's come up, make Pete a cake in the kitchen right now.
Wow, that is specific.
It is, isn't it? But, if it's what the listeners want, and you wouldn't want to let the listeners down, would you?
Well, no, I guess not.
Great, so how about you get started straight away and make Pete a cake in the kitchen right now.
All right, I'm on it.
Brilliant. God, I love podcasting.
Me too. All right, Pete. Well, look, there you go. That's the fun part done. Let's get into the history, because I'm sure that's equally fun and full of lightheartedness.
Oh, yeah, it's upbeat, light entertainment, the history of Cambodia, let me tell you. But first, Ryan, I'll tell us a little bit about the Neogene, the period that we're in, because whilst we're doing history, obviously Cambodia wasn't a place during that time, but the Neogene is a thing that we should know a little bit about. And this is a geologic period of about 20 million years, so a good chunk of time. It comes after the Paleogene period, 23 million years ago, and before the Quaternary period, which started 2.5 million years ago, and that's the period that we are in today. So the Neogene is relatively new. It's quite recent in geological terms.
It's the Neogene.
It is the Neogene. It's actually subdivided into two epochs, the first being the Miocene, and the second one is the Pliocene.
Nice.
The period is notable for the continents essentially falling into basically the positions we're familiar with today. So the Himalayas got squashed up into the position they're in now. Australia kind of headed out into the open sea to get where it is today. And really importantly, North and South America joined together at the Isthmus of Panama. And that was important because that actually was a source of warm ocean currents coming from the Pacific to the Atlantic. So that meant the only way for warm water to go from the Pacific to the Atlantic Oceans was beyond the tip of the South America. So that changed the climate a little bit as well.
Oh, okay, right.
And in terms of life, mammals and birds were continuing to evolve into kind of what we see today. So this is where everything becomes pretty familiar. But possibly the biggest news from the Neogene from our point of view is that this period saw a variety of apes dropping out of the trees and having a go at walking around on their hind legs, seeing how that worked out for them, in the process creating the very first humans who appear in Africa near the end of the Neogene period.
Oh, very cool. That's when we appear, is it? Hominids.
Hominids make their first appearance in the Neogene, yes. So the Neogene is where everything starts to come together, so that everything's starting to fall into place in the ways we would recognise.
Very cool.
But Ryan, Cambodia obviously was not a country in the Neogene, so let's leap forward to 6,000 to 7,000 BCE.
Yes, please. Set the dial.
Careless old early man, he's always leaving his stuff behind. He left his stone tools behind after a job in a cave at Lang Spien in northwest Cambodia, to be found by modern man and radiocarbon dated.
Okay, to when?
This was about 6,000, 7,000 BCE.
That's a long time ago, isn't it?
Yeah, so then sometime after that, the Iron Age period begins around 500 BCE, and that lasts for about 1,000 years in the area. And this also shows the first evidence of some established maritime trade, interaction with India and South Asia. So even really early days, you had signs of interactions in the area, in the region as a whole.
Things are cooking.
Things are cooking. By the 1st century, complex societies developed with the most advanced groups living along the coast in the lower Mekong River Valley and the Delta, and they cultivate rice and fish and kept animals, you know, the classic settled people of early man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so now from the 1st century to 550 CE or thereabouts, Chinese records refer to what is believed to be the first real kingdom or state called the Kingdom of Funan, which was a collection of communities really seeming to be a Hindu culture, showing Indian influences, and this is the period to which the current Cambodian royal family trace their lineages. It's an empire, so it comes to an end. Funan finishes. No one's exactly clear how. Maybe conquest, could be shifting trade patterns, could be environmental problems. But the next couple of centuries sees another kingdom called Chenla rise to power. But then after that is the real powerhouse and the golden age of Cambodian history from 802 to 1431, so a good chunk of hundreds of years, the Khmer Empire.
Khmer.
I would have said Khmer normally, but I've seen that Khmer or Khmer is the correct way of pronouncing it. So I'm going to try and stick with Khmer, but I might lapse into Khmer. Apologies for those people.
I think when you've got 40 plus vowels in your language, you can pronounce it however you like, can't you?
Yeah, they've got so many. They just, it's dealer's choice, whatever you fancy. I'm going to stick with Khmer if possible.
All right, then I shall do the same.
So now, in the words of Wikipedia, the Khmer Empire was characterised by unparalleled technical and artistic progress and achievements, political integrity and administrative stability.
Sounds good.
Khmer Empire fades, as all empires do, again. And again, no one's quite sure what it is. Ecological, could be military, could be religious. There's different opinions as to how the Khmer Empire fell.
Aliens.
Probably aliens, Ryan. The next period of Cambodian history, so Khmer, is just called the Middle Period and takes us from the 1600s to 1863 without much interesting going on, really.
Mysterious.
But anyway, to keep the sneaky Siamese at bay, in August 1863 now, the nation signed an agreement with the French.
Oh, okay, how'd they get there?
Well, they were in the area anyway. French
rocking around in their boats. Yeah,
exactly.
Sure.
So they put the kingdom under the protection of France, and you know how that goes. It starts with them having their own sovereignty, and can I shock you? French control gradually increased.
No way!
I know.
Land and expand, baby.
Yeah, so the French stuck around helping out, aka taking over, until the Second World War, where it gets a little bit confusing. But more or less, Vichy France was the puppet government of Germany. Cambodia was a protectorate of the puppet. There was a war between Thailand and the French, the Vichy French, which lost a lot of territories. The Japanese moved in. They decided to kick the French out after leaving them in post for a while. Then the Japanese suggested that Cambodia declare its own independence. So in 1945, they declared the independent kingdom of Kampuchea. But then Japan lost the war and the French made a big comeback and they reimposed colonial administration.
Wow.
Confusing times in Cambodia through World War II.
Isn't that a lot of change in hands?
Yeah, but once ignited, as we see time and time again, the fire of independence is hard to quench. And in fact, there was another declaration and agreement of independence in 1953.
Okay, so all good from then on.
So, in the 1960s, Cambodia got a bit caught up in the Vietnam War, with North Vietnamese troops setting up bases inside Cambodia and the USA, in response, dropping bombs on Cambodia to try and destroy them, which kind of gave Cambodia a bit of the worst of both worlds, I would say. There was leftist opposition to the Cambodian government, including a man called Saloth Sar, who was later to become known as Pol Pot. He led an insurgency under the Communist Party banner known as the Khmer Rouge, or the Khmer Rouge, literally the Red Khmer. Now, between 1968 and 1969, the insurgency worsened, and in 1970 there was a coup, but it wasn't the Khmer Rouge, it was their opponents. This in turn triggered the North Vietnamese to full-on invade, and they supported the Khmer Rouge and triggered a civil war which saw the communists come out on top. The Khmer Rouge were now in control. This is partly because the Cambodian peasants apparently weren't in love with the United States, possibly because they kept bombing them.
Yeah, that would do it for me.
Yeah, there is a school of thought that said that it was a very counterproductive thing to bomb the Vietnamese in Cambodia, and that's why the American-supported more right-wing government didn't last.
Yeah. Now,
Khmer Rouge were in charge, but they were not good people, Ryan. Their main policy was basically to destroy everything and start from scratch, or year zero it was known. So they evacuated whole cities and towns, shipped people into the country to work as farmers, religion was suppressed, agriculture was collectivized. Cambodia didn't have a currency or a banking system. Intellectualism was discouraged, and by intellectuals I mean anybody really. They were chased and executed. You could be caught for things as abstruse as just knowing a foreign language, or incredibly, if you wore glasses you could be perceived as an intellectual and hounded and killed.
Just going to take my glasses off 1 second.
Yeah, I think you should, and especially with your facility with languages, Ryan. It was truly an appalling internal genocide. It's mind-boggling. It resulted in the deaths of somewhere between 1.5 and 2 million people from 1975 to 79. That's nearly a quarter of the entire population.
Wow. Feels like the country's shadow slipped away at night and didn't come back for sunrise.
It was a horrendous time, and unsurprisingly, the Khmer Rouge were not very popular. So, in 1979, the Vietnamese invaded again. They overthrew the Khmer Rouge, and the People's Republic of Kampuchea was established, and then that immediately descended into a civil war, which ended in 1991. So, things not good in the world of Cambodia or Kampuchea at that time. May 1993 finally sees some elections, but they were pretty contentious. They resulted in a coalition government, resulting in 2 co-prime ministers, including one of them was a guy called Hun Sen of the Cambodian People's Party. And since then, that party has become pretty much the only game in town. We're looking at a one-party state, with Sen accused of cracking down on his opponents and critics. Now, jump forward to the July 2023 election, so coming up to the present day. They won again, but this time there was a new Prime Minister, a man named Hun Manet. Not, however, a breath of fresh air for Cambodia, because Hun Manet is in fact the son of Hun Sen, keeping it in the family, and still one-party state pretty much into the present day. So, tough times for a long time for Cambodia. I don't know what the future holds, but as ever, our best wishes go out to the people of Cambodia. May you at least some point get some democracy and some safety and economic prosperity, and sorry about all the bombing.
Yeah, nearly a century of war and turmoil.
They've really had a hard time. It's tragic, because I think when you look at some of the other nations in that area, they've just really been thriving. I think Cambodia has a longer way to go than some of them, I believe.
All right, well, there you go. I wish the people of Cambodia all the best, Pete, and I'm sure you do too.
Me too. It looks like a lovely place. I would like to go to. This is one of the classic would like to visit locations, isn't it?
Well, good luck, Cambodia.
Good luck.
All right, Toby, we're all very excited. So, what have you got for us?
Well, John, you wanted something bold, daring, a product that commands attention.
That's right.
Good, because the next big thing in cosmetics is...
Yes?
2 words.
Right?
Khmer Rouge.
What?
Khmer Rouge, boom, it's a game changer.
Khmer Rouge?
Yeah, because it doesn't just make your cheeks red, it gives you power, danger, and seduction.
Right. You do know who the Khmer Rouge were, right?
Of course, they were unstoppable, ruthless, unavoidable, just like our products.
Toby, are you feeling all right?
Come on, picture the commercial. A sultry woman turns and locks eyes with the camera. Her cheeks flushed. She whispers breathlessly, Khmer Rouge, take no prisoners.
Oh my God.
I know! Good, right?
No! It's insane, Toby! Nobody names cosmetic products after genocidal regimes!
Well, nobody's thought of it until now.
Oh, this is crazy!
Or crazy good.
Toby, I think you've completely lost your mind.
Oh, come on, we're pushing boundaries here. Just think of the response on social media.
That's literally all I'm thinking about. We'll be cancelled in seconds.
Fine, so you're saying you won't support the Khmer Rouge idea?
Absolutely not.
Well, all right then. Guards?
What?
Take him away.
Get up! What are you doing? Get your hands on me! You can't do this! Stop! Stop it! Get off it!
Okay, so what do the rest of you think of Khmer Rouge?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, lovely. That's what I thought. Now, hands up who wants to lead on the new range from our food division. Delicious, nutritious Pol Pot noodle. It massacres your hunger.
Sounds great, Toby.
All right, Pete, we are oriented. We know its history. It's time, Pete, to bring all the things together. How have you linked psychology in Cambodia during the Neogene?
I'm glad you asked that question, Ryan, because boy, have I brought this together neatly and with no stretching whatsoever.
All right.
Now, Ryan, clearly, to talk about psychology in Cambodia during the Neogene, we're going to be talking about bears.
Yeah, obviously.
Obviously. So specifically, we're going to be talking about the sun bear.
Oh, okay. What's that then?
Have you come across a sun bear before?
Don't think so.
It's a member of the bear family, unsurprisingly, found in Cambodia as well as across Southeast Asia as a whole. If you wanted to go and see a sun bear, Ryan, you could do worse than visit the Cambodia Sanctuary, which is in the Phnom Tamau Wildlife Rescue Centre just outside the capital city of Phnom Penh. This sanctuary was established in 1997 and is home to over 120 rescued bears, and it's supposed to be the world's largest sanctuary for the sun bear.
Okay, cool.
Sun bears are so called thanks to their characteristic orange or cream coloured patch on their chest, which some people say resembles a rising sun. I would observe, Ryan, those people are quite wrong. It does not. It just looks like a patch on their chest. But nevertheless, that's what they say.
Okay.
They're the smallest of the bear species and they are keen climbers. They spend a lot of time in trees. They munch on bugs and ants and beetles, also some plant materials, and sometimes they'll even get a bird or a deer if they're feeling fruity.
A deer?
Yeah. I don't think they get them that often. They're not massive, these things. They don't hibernate, possibly because all these things are basically year-round available treats. But, of course, being bears, they love honey.
Oh, who doesn't?
But, Ryan, are they really bears? This bear is sufficiently weird-looking, especially when it stands on its hind legs, that in 2023, there were visitors to Hangzhou Zoo in China. There was a video made of one of these bears, and it was kind of standing up. And the video went viral, and everyone was insisting that it wasn't a bear, but that it was actually a man in a bear suit in the zoo. And the Chinese officials were forced to issue an official statement that their bear was not, in fact, a man in a bear suit.
Now, I've definitely seen that video, and it definitely looks like a man in a bear suit.
It really does, doesn't it? We'll
really
try
does.
and get hold of it and post it on our social media. But yes, they do look odd, and part of the answer lies in the Neogene period, Ryan.
No way.
To speak of bear evolution.
Okay.
I found an excitingly titled paper called Mitochondrial Genomes Reveal an Explosive Radiation of Extinct and Extant Bears Near the Miocene-Pliocene Boundary.
Tell me more.
I will. So basically, the scientists took a bunch of bear DNA and what they were trying to do was recreate the evolutionary tree. So when did the various bears separate from the common ancestor that they all started with? And it wasn't just current bear DNA either. They took the 8 current bear types, which are, do you know your bear types, Brian?
Yeah. The honey-eating bears. Hiker-eating bears.
Well, brown bear.
Penguin-eating bears.
Yes, there's the brown bear, the American black bear, the Asian black bear, the polar bear, the sun bear, the sloth bear, the spectacled bear, and the giant panda. Those are your 8 types of bear in the world today.
Spectacled bear got through Pol Pot's regime, did it?
He managed to survive somehow. Just kept a low profile, munched on his insects. He tried not to speak his other languages as well. That kept him safe. They managed to scrape together also some DNA from some extinct bears, the North American giant short-faced bear, and also some from a European cave bear using a 44,000-year-old bone found in an Austrian cave.
Oh, I thought you meant they extracted the DNA with the bone. But no, you meant they extracted the DNA from the bone.
From the bone, yeah. They didn't winkle out some DNA using an old bone. That would be remarkable.
Yeah.
So then they did what I like to call some science, and they recreated the bear evolutionary tree. And what did they find? Well, the first bear to step outside the sort of evolutionary tree trunk was the
I'm
giant...
hoping it's a man in a bear suit.
No, it was actually the giant panda. This makes them what's known as the basal species, the first of the bears to strike out and form his own bear type from the common ancestor.
That's fascinating. You would never say the giant panda was the first of the bears.
I was surprised, and they made their own way in the world in the early Miocene at the start of the Neogene.
Nice.
Then into the mid-Miocene, the spectacled typical bear, he splits off and starts to do his own thing. And the now extinct American giant short-faced bear separate as well at roughly the same time. Then we move into the early Pliocene. The sun bear and the American Asian black bears part company with the brown polar cave and sloth bears and form their own clade or gang.
All right.
So what does it all mean? Well, firstly, it means that the Neogene was the time at which basically all the bears we know today separated out from their common ancestors. So that's important. So this is giving us some Neogene, and these are Cambodian bears, let's not forget. So Neogene in Cambodia, this is happening.
Interesting.
But you're wondering what all this has to do with psychology, aren't you?
Oh, I mean, that thought was in my mind, yes.
Wonder no more, because as part of their evolution, some bears have evolved psychological behaviours that were studied by Dr. Marina Davila-Ross and Derry Taylor from the Department of Psychology at the University of Portsmouth, who's published a study in Scientific Reports in 2019.
Okay.
This is a report that's entitled Facial Complexity in Sun Bears, Exact Facial Mimicry and Social Sensitivity.
People get paid to do the weirdest stuff, don't they?
They do. So what they did was they watched these bears, basically trying to see how they played and what expressions they had on their faces whilst they were playing.
Okay.
And you're probably wondering, like I was, quite how vivid these bear expressions are, because they found that they did use these facial expressions to convey information whilst they were playing. To be honest with you, the expressions are mostly open mouth, closed mouth, can you see the teeth or not? It wasn't like the bear had an expression that could only be described as quizzical. It wasn't quite that kind of depth. It was more, can you see his teeth or not? Is his mouth open or not? But I would observe that when you look at the published paper, they have a table of their results, and they've all got these cute little bear face icons to represent the different expressions on the bears' faces.
Oh, nice. Cool.
But the important observation they did find was facial mimicry at work, where the bears would replicate each other's facial expressions in order to stimulate or calm down the degree of aggressiveness of their play. And Dr. Davila-Ross explains why this is important. She said, mimicking the facial expressions of others in exact ways is one of the pillars of human communication. Other primates and dogs are known to mimic each other, but only great apes and humans were previously known to show such complexity in their facial mimicry. So previously we thought it was these advanced, in inverted commas, species like us, but no, bears are doing it as well.
Very cool. And does it work interspecies? Like, can you do one bear face to another bear? Can like a panda do a face to a speckled bear and they know what it's thinking?
I would suspect not, but I would say it bears further study, as it were.
Hey!
But this isn't the only psychology study on sun bears, Ryan.
Of course not.
I was quite surprised by the amount of results on sun bear psychology, but very briefly, you're wondering about whether or not to give your sun bear an iPad, aren't you?
Well, I'm going to say no.
Incorrect, Ryan.
Okay.
The study was called The Effect of Computerized Testing on Sun Bear Behavior and Enrichment Preferences by Bonnie M. Purdue, concluded that you should indeed give your sun bear an iPad and they'll probably have a pretty good time.
Well, just chewing on it.
What they were really testing was not whether they could play Angry Birds or not, but it was they would put it up in a secluded area in the cage, and it would have stimulus response behavior. So it put a square up, and if they licked the square, a little pellet of food would come out, and then different stimulus would result in different responses. And so would the bears come and play with the iPad, or would they ignore it? And what they found was that the bears generally were quite happy to go into this room, and they would lick the screen in various ways with a response of getting a little bit of food pellet as a result.
Wow, very cool.
But yeah, the conclusion was some bears readily interacted with a touchscreen computer and learned to effectively use it within several sessions. They showed some preference for it over more traditional forms of enrichment. So the serious point under all this is, when you've got a bear in a cage, how do you keep that bear stimulated if you want to feed it, but you don't want to keep it in its constant routines? So what they were really trying to do is say, can you use technology to provide the stimulation to your bears, and would they enjoy that, and would they find it effective, or would they just ignore it because actually they don't get screen time?
Talking of effective, I think you should give all of the sun bears an Apple t-shirt and make them all geniuses in the Genius Bar to help you resolve your iPad issues.
You're just licking it, aren't you? Yep. But hey, it's worked, so why not? But yes, there you have it, Ryan. That is the psychology of bears, which distributed themselves evolutionarily in the Neogene period and currently live in some numbers in Cambodia.
Get an iPad, get a bear, winning combination.
Also, would you be the one to stop your bear having screen time? Screen time's over, bear.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. You keep it. I think he'd like a keyboard, to be honest with you.
Yeah, true. Dear sir,
To whom it may concern, dinner.
more honey, please.
It's come to my attention that the honey supplies are running low once again. This service is unacceptable.
Please fix, kind regards.
The Bears.
And so then they said they wouldn't take it back, and now I'm stuck with no way of returning it. I mean, can you believe that? Gary. I said, can you believe that?
Yeah, great.
Are you even listening to me right now?
Yeah. What?
Oh, for God's sake, will you put that thing down? I am talking to you. You're obsessed with that thing. Ever since that researcher gave you an iPad, you've barely looked at me.
Oh, bloody hell, that's just great. Well, thanks for that. I was about to beat the high score.
Honestly, you are addicted to that thing.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. Look, you haven't even touched your termites.
Well, I'm not hungry, and besides, I ate at work.
Oh, playing with an iPad all day is not work.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not, Gary, and I've told you a million times how I just want us to sit down together in the evening and spend some time doing what... Right, I am taking that thing away.
What? No, I need it.
For what?
For science.
Oh, okay. What science?
Well, you know, important bear science.
Oh, come on. Some human showing up in a white coat out of the blue and giving you an iPad doesn't make you a scientist.
You wouldn't understand. My work is important.
Oh, yeah? Why?
Well, because of the iPad is technology and the fact that I'm a bear, obviously, and the way in which we develop and... Look, do you know what? You wouldn't understand.
You are ridiculous. Give it to me.
No!
Give it here.
No!
Look, if you don't put that thing down, I swear I am going to...
Stop it! If you keep pulling,
give
it's
it
gonna...
here.
No! You've broken it!
Good. Now, eat your dinner like a normal bear.
Do you know what? I'm going to tell the researcher that you broke it.
I don't care.
Yeah. And they'll probably give me another iPad. And maybe an Xbox too. For science. Yeah, see how you like that?
Well, then I'll just break those too.
Oh my God. Why do you have to ruin everything I enjoy?
Just shut up and eat your termites.
I should have married your sister.
Don't you bring her into this.
Oh, you know she's always nicer to me than you ever were.
Oh, you're still talking with her, are you?
It's what your mother wanted, if you ask me.
I hate you so much.
I love you. Kiss me. Well, Ryan, that was my attempt to link psychology, the Neogene, and Cambodia. What have you got for me? I'm interested to find out how you've tackled this.
So yeah, I thought I'd do something a little bit different, Pete. And I thought I might present my section in the form of a psychological report.
Ooh, okay.
Now, what is a psychological report, you ask?
That's a good question. I do want to know.
Well, it's basically a formal document that's written by a psychologist that lists down all the observations and conclusions that they've come to about their client or their patient's behaviour. It offers suggestions about why they act the way that they do. It details the way in which they might be able to be helped to move forward in their life in a healthier way. And because these reports contain a lot of sensitive information, such as who the individual is, what their behaviour is like, they're almost always kept private and confidential.
Or broadcast on a podcast.
Yeah. So today, I'm going to be breaking all sorts of ethical codes here, but I figure that the individual that it's about won't mind too much given that they've been dead for 9 million years.
Okay.
So, who is the subject of the report, I hear you say?
I do. I say that.
It's an individual who lived during the Miocene in an area that is today called Cambodia, and it belonged to a now extinct species called Coropithecus.
Ooh, who's a Coropithecus?
So, during this time in Cambodia, there were vast forests. It was warm, it was humid, and it offered an ideal habitat for a variety of animals. Now, animals at this time were pretty similar to today, but they did look a little bit different than those we would recognise. So if we travel back in time 9 million years, we'd perhaps recognise some of these animals, but they would just look a bit odd and a bit bizarre. For example, living in this jungle, there was an ancestor of the modern elephant, which was like an elephant in that it had tusks, But these tusks were slightly different in that they were shaped like shovels.
That sounds useful.
Yeah, actually useful, yeah. There was a relative of the rhinoceros too. It was called the Brachypitherium, and it was different to modern rhinos in the sense...
horn like a corkscrew.
Shaped like a shovel. No, it was different in the sense that it was enormous. It measured over 2 meters high, weighed up to 5 tons, basically a double rhino.
Yowzers.
Yeah, there was a horse-like creature too called Calicotheres, and it looked like a horsey, except that at the end of its legs...
With shovels.
Shovels.
It was the period of the shovel beasts. Everywhere they went, they left trenches.
Oh dear. No, basically it had at the end of its legs. You broke me. God damn it. No, it had long ass claws, Pete.
No, horse with claws. That's
Horse with claws. Yeah. There were pythons that were 10 metres long, Pete, and swimming in the rivers was the gavialadi, a long-snouted, 11-metre-long reptile that preyed on fish and anything else that basically fell into the water. It would snap those up too. Basically, Pete, it was a weird and dangerous time for nature.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, but thriving in this place was another animal group that would have looked much more recognisable to us. And you have mentioned it already, Pete, and that is apes. Because, as you rightly pointed out, this is a period of history sometimes referred to as the Age of Apes, a time when primates had started spreading out across the globe from Africa into Europe and now into Asia. Now, these were proto-apes, and each one had started adapting to their own environment. There was the monkey-like proconsul, which was about the size of a modern chimpanzee. They had long limbs to clamber around on tree branches. There was the curved-fingered gibbon-like ape called Dreopithecus, and there was the species called Coropithecus, for which the subject of our psychological report belongs.
Ooh.
Now, thought to resemble a modern orangutan, Coropithecus was a large-bodied ape, stood around 5 feet tall, had long arms which were perfect for swinging around in trees, and it spent its days looking for fruits and leaves and flowers and nuts and seeds and the occasional insect to munch on. And so, with that image in mind, and with the thanks to the animal psychologist who very definitely lived and wrote this report 9 million years ago, let's dive into our report to understand more about the mindset and the behaviour of an individual Coropithecus, who we shall refer to today as Derzolation. So, the introduction to the report states that it was written following a period of observation of Derzolation, where he has displayed various behavioural patterns which indicate an individual that is suffering from heightened stress reactivity, social difficulties, and a persistent preoccupation with food security.
Yes.
The author points out that while these behaviours are not uncommon in primates, they do appear to be negatively influencing Derzolation's daily function. So, the report goes into detail, noting some of the more persistent behavioural characteristics. The first is titled Food-Related Anxiety, and in it the psychologist describes Derzolash's obsessive foraging behaviour, observing that he displays exceptional recall of fruiting tree locations and seasonal patterns, but on multiple instances every day, Derzolation will revisit his food sources even when they're depleted. Basically saying that Derzolation spends his day going around the trees, looking for something to eat, returning even to those trees that he knows there's nothing there on. You know, a bit like when I go to the fridge and look for a snack, even though I know I haven't been shopping for weeks.
How many times I open the fridge and go, nope, still nothing.
Still nothing there. Yeah. Now, they propose that it is the trauma of this event that has become deeply tied to his memory, leaving him with an ingrained fear of scarcity, resulting in acts of daily overcompensation, such as compulsive foraging and changing emotional responses, which basically means his mood fluctuates constantly. He rocks between anxiety when food is scarce and relief when it's available, leaving poor old Derzolation with a profound sense of helplessness, a drained energy, and feelings of despondency.
Does sound like Derzolation.
It does. Now, the report then lists the next behaviour. Now, this focuses on Derzolation's struggles with social interactions. Dursley lacks the necessary confidence to integrate fully within a group. He displays awkwardness when engaging with others and often choosing to engage in grooming practices alone.
Oh.
Now, of particular concern to the psychologist is Dursley's hesitance to engage in conflict. The result, it suggests, of a sustained injury received during a territorial dispute that impacts Dursley's ability to effectively forage. The author mentions that Dursley recalls the memory of this event vividly and now experiences heightened stress when perceiving any potential confrontation, going so far as to avoid direct challenges by vocalizing from a distance, or more commonly, just moving deeper into the forest. So the psychologist is suggesting that Dursley has learned this behaviour to protect himself physically, but it also reinforces feelings of insecurity, leading to a pattern of avoidance that compromises his ability to defend his territory. The final behaviour mentioned in the report is labelled hypervigilance, and it describes how Dursley frequently misinterprets harmless environmental stimuli as threats. Examples given being scared of falling branches. The psychologist suggests that this behaviour is likely resultant from an early life predation scare where Dursley witnessed a python eat his father.
A python at my dad is something you would be affected by, for sure.
Now, the author goes on suggesting that this behaviour has resulted in Dursley suffering from reduced foraging efficiency and moments of visible distress. Now, as we can see, Dursley is an interesting case study. There are some psychological behaviours that clearly appear to be affecting the poor guy's daily life. But it's not all unhealthy behaviours. The report concludes with a section that calls out Dursley's cognitive strengths too, specifically his high adaptability, problem-solving skills, and capacity for altruism, as evidenced by his ability to recall distant fruiting locations with remarkable accuracy, his strategic use of branches to test canopy pathways before crossing, and his willingness to share food with younger or weaker group members. Now, to help support Dursley's psychological well-being, the report suggests several strategies. The first focuses on reducing his food-related anxiety. Essentially, this means working with Dursley to encourage broadening his usual small range of foraging trees to a larger, more diversified portfolio for food sources. Fill your fridge. Now, this would encourage him a greater sense of security, thereby lowering the stress and helping with his resource depletion. Over time, this should help lessen his compulsive tree checking and foster a more adaptable and confident approach to food acquisition. In terms of his reluctance in engaging in territorial disputes, the report recommends controlled territorial engagement, which basically means exposing him to territorial encounters in order that he can practice standing his ground without the threat of any serious injury. It's the equivalent of putting a boxer in the ring, with a novice first before putting them in the ring with Mike Tyson.
Gotcha.
And that would help him develop a more assertive presence of his own. Over time, this would help reduce the stress, and help him move on more with his life. In terms of hypervigilance, it suggests environmental awareness training, which basically means exposing Dursley to more ambiguous environmental stimuli. That means exposing him to rustling leaves, scary insects, and finally, maybe a python.
I feel like after weeks of therapy, he's going to get eaten by a python.
Yeah. Now, basically, all of this over time is going to help Dursley, and the report concludes with the following summation. Dursley is, at his core, a survivor. A little anxious, a little awkward, but endlessly resourceful. He's not the biggest, the boldest, or the most socially adept, but what he lacks in dominance, he makes up for in determination. His world stretches endlessly throughout the canopy, and yet within it, he feels small, dwarfed by the scale of the forest, the ever-changing patterns of scarcity and abundance, and the unspoken rules of social hierarchy that seem just beyond his grasp. But Dursley is not without his triumphs. When he navigates the canopy, he moves with the ease of a master. When he shares food with a younger ape, he demonstrates something that no dominance display could ever prove: a capacity for kindness, for something that hints at the roots of empathy. Yes, he is cautious, but that same caution has kept him alive in a world where misjudging a predator, a branch, or a rival could mean disaster. Now, not all survivors are kings of their domain. Some are quiet figures who carve out a place for themselves in the margins, who make it through each day not by overpowering, but by thinking, feeling, and simply holding on. And Dursley is holding on, swinging through the trees, searching for food, looking for safety and belonging. And that is where the report ends. But of course, history doesn't record what happened to Dursley after this was written, but what we do know is that Coropithecus ultimately did go extinct. So perhaps Dursley ignored all these recommendations, and perhaps his fate serves as a cautionary tale for us all. A reminder to seek help, to adapt, to take care of both our psychological and physical well-being before it's too late. Otherwise, in 9 million years, a future podcast will be reading about your most intimate problems.
Oh no, I don't want future podcasts talking about me and my failings.
Open the box!
No, get the box back in the dark corner.
What's this in the box? It's just black tar.
Do not touch the soupy tar. Well, Ryan, thank you very much for an insight into the psychology of, what was his name, a Coropithecus?
Dursley the Coropithecus, the great ape.
Oh, that's excellent. Well, thank you very much. I think you managed to pull something out of the bag on what was, let's be honest, a very difficult time, topic and country.
You betcha, spade-shaped hands.
You bet your shovel limbs.
We sure did. Oh, glad it's over. On to the Derzolator, quick!
Quickly, desolate something else. Now I'm the king of the swingers, the Neogene VIP. I'm on my throne, but I'm all alone, and that's what's bothering me. I want to find food and water, and friends with whom to share, but I'm all alone in my jungle home, and that's what's got me scared. Oh boo-hoo, I want to be with you. I want to walk with you, talk with you. Ooh. Oh yes, it's true. Coropithecus like me just yearns to meet someone like you.
All right, Pete. Well, look, there we go. Another episode down, and it is time for the ears of the audience to swivel in their sockets towards us to learn more about what is coming up in our next episode. So let's wheel out the Derzolator.
Oh, dust it off. That has to be easier than that one. That was a real trickster.
It was. I'm going to push the button.
All right, what have we got?
Our place is Sudan.
Oh, some more hard history.
Right. And our time is 1995 to the year 2000. Just 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and our topic is first aid.
First aid.
First aid in Sudan during 1995 to the year 2000.
All right, well, Sudan, here we come. Well, that is our show for this week. Thanks as ever for listening. If you would like to get in touch about any of the things we've talked about, or share your psychological woes, or if you just want to say hello, you can reach out to us through the website, hhepodcast.com, or email Pete and Ryan at hhepodcast.com.
Yeah, that's right. We'd love to hear from you, and you never know, you might end up featured on a future show.
And if you're on Mastodon, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky or X, you can find us at HHE Podcast.
And if you subscribe to those, you're going to get an alert every time we post extra content, like facts we didn't use, photos from the show, and pictures of a sun bear, or is it a man?
I will show you some pictures of sun bear, and I will show you the little icons that they have in the study of the sun bear facial psychology.
You do that.
And of course, we'll be back again soon with
The Verdict.
But until then, a huge thank you to you, Ryan. Good to have you back.
And a huge thanks to you, Pete. It's great to be back.
And that's it. I guess all that's left to say is...
You've been listening to...
History happened everywhere.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Pete.
Just to let you know, the football's on tonight, so I'm going to be watching that.
Okay. Oh, no, I was going to watch a movie.
Yeah, well, this is football, though, so, more important.
Right, but I have been waiting ages to see this film, so...
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. You could just watch it another time.
No, but that's not fair, Pete. Hey, I know. How about we rock, paper, scissors to see who gets the TV?
Fine, but remember, I always win.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1...
Ryan,
What?
why do you have shovels tied to your hands?
Oh, well, because earlier we were talking about animals with body parts shaped like shovels, and I wondered what it
would be like to have shovels for hands?
Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
Right, well, we can't play rock, paper, scissors with you wearing those, so take them off and we'll go again.
Nuh-uh, no way. This is another benefit of shovel hands. Shovels beat rock, paper, and scissors every time.
Look, I'm not playing while you have shovel hands, that's cheating.
Oh, are you scared?
No, it's just silly.
Well, I guess you forfeit then. No football for you. Movie time, here I come.
Fine, if you're going to be like that, give me a second, hold on.
Wait, what are you doing?
Well, if you're going to play with shovel hands, then I'm going to play with dynamite hands!
No, Pete, come on, that's not fair!
Hey, if rock, paper or scissors can't beat shovels, then let's see if good old industrial grade explosives can.
But where did you even get dynamite from?
Doesn't matter, hurry up, let's play, or are you chicken?
Pete, I really don't think this is a good idea.
I did warn you, I always win.
Pete, come on, seriously.
3,
Pete!
2,
Seriously!
1.
Pete, no!
Totally worth it.
Hello, lovely YouTube folks. This is a special message just for you.
Yeah, thanks for listening all the way to the end.
Now, if you enjoyed the show, please let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
And don't forget to take a moment to hit that like and smash subscribe.
Hit that like.
Yeah,
Smash subscribe.
yeah, that's what people say.
Do they though?
Yeah, only the cool kids.
And you think you're the cool kids, do you?
No, we're the cool kids.
Oh, yeah, I suppose we are. All right, smash that like button, people. Smash it real good.
Oh, yeah. Nice.